Hey everyone, today I'm going to be looking at the first issue of the Archie Street Sharks comic book. So it opens up pretty much how the very first episode of the show opens up. A mysterious guy is climbing a fence, and the artwork is really, really nice. And one of the odd changes is apparently Dr. Bolton was perceived as being a bit more foul-mouthed than in the show. Ah, the redoubtable Dr. Bolton. I don't know what in the world redoubtable is. Is that supposed to be reputable? I feel like reputable would be a better choice of word there. And then, just like in the show, he tries to gingerly jostle Paradigm away, and then Paradigm smacks him across the world. Holy crap. And then, just like in the show, a giant lobster and a swordfish break out of their containment. Paradigm remains calm while Bolton is reasonably angry. Paradigm locks him in. Bolton yells to let him out. And then Paradigm injects him with something, and off screen we see him mutate, but we do see a little silhouette of what Bolton becomes. And just like in the show, Paradigm sees the watch that Bolton left behind, picks it up. I always liked this watch. Well, time to go.
Not so fast, friend. What about us?
I really like this. We even get Guy in the Sky.
And it's Guy in the Sky with a big good morning fishing city, though good seems a bit optimistic. Ozone's burning away, UV's off the scale, and the carbon monoxide, blech, you don't want to know.
And then, just like in the show, yeah, this whole review could be basically
just like in the show.
Dr. Paradigm, at least you're here. Dr. Bolton never showed up for his morning lecture, and he's never late. I was just about to call his sons to ask if...
His sons! An excellent idea, Lena. Call them immediately. Tell them their father wants them to meet them at the old nuclear power plant on I-18 in 15 minutes.
That was Dr. Bolton's watch.
Man, I wouldn't trust that guy. He's weirder than a ketchup and jelly sandwich.
I love Benz's new line here. And then we see what the Bolton boys look like in the world of this comic, and they look about the same, although John is looking quite a bit less fit than in the show. And the weirdest thing, Bobby has really long hair. It makes him look like Rick from the 90s Incredible Hulk comics. And then we see them on their race to the old nuke joint, and there's some text boxes that provide a bit of a different experience than the show did. In the show, we have an exciting race to the thing, but in a comic, a race is a really visual thing and movement based, but in the comic, you can't really do movement. So what they do is they, show some highlights of the race and then end with, but the unlikely winner of this particular race was a foregone conclusion from the moment Clint dragged himself out of bed and fired up his jetpack.
What took you guys so long?
The brothers confront Dr. Paradigm about the whereabouts of their father. They see their father's watch and consider that suspicious. Boys are introduced to Slopster and Slash. They pile them in the helicopter, take them to Paradigm's lab, where he plans to inject them with the shark DNA. Just like in the show, Clint breaks free and apparently dies, followed by the other brothers. Slopster and Slash take them, dump them in a ravine, and then they get washed away. Unconscious, but otherwise totally fine. Lena calls up Benz, and for the most part, the dialogue in this comic and the pacing and the sequence of events all pretty much follow the show pretty closely. There's not much deviation aside from a few extra lines here and there. So then the brothers go out, get some hamburgers or whatever that is. Then they start turning into sharks. And the guy who has the snack cart that they start eating apparently is Italian. Mamma mia! That's what I said, officer. Like some kind of land sharks. Alright, yeah. He had to be Italian, I guess. Weird. In the show, I don't know what his ethnicity is. He just says, no. So then the police show up almost immediately, and then the sharks disappear, and the cops are like, what? And then the sharks swim through the road, which is their thing, and then they see the girl in trouble, they rescue her, And then she runs off screaming because, yeah, shark monsters. Lena's listening to the radio and hears this and tells Benz to go check it out. Benz meets up with the sharks, and the sharks tell him,
It's us, Ben. Clint, Bobby, John, and Coop. We got stream slammed into shark creatures.
Benz helps them drive away, and they hide out in an amusement park. Slash spots them.
Wait, I have them hiding in that amusement park billboard.
Meanwhile, Benz comes up with a cover story for the sharks when a little kid sees them.
Oh man, awesome! You mean Drawsome? Like 'em? They're promoting our upcoming ride called the Street Sharks.
Slopster tries to collapse some pillars on them. The comic is really confusingly set up here. Apparently, Slopster collapses the pillars on themselves. Yeah, this is the one part of the comic where the layout really doesn't work anywhere near as well as the show does. Benz alerts the sharks to tanks rolling in and holding them up. So yeah, this was a really, really cool adaptation of the very first episode of Street Sharks. Altogether, there were 3 issues Archie put out that adapt the 3-part pilot series of Street Sharks, and after that, they had another 3-part series, which was a completely original story, not connected with the show at all. There's completely new characters, although the Street Sharks are still there with Benz and Paradigm and all those guys. But then there's also these Atlantean creature people things, completely different than the Atlanteans they'd introduce in the actual Street Sharks show, interestingly. So yeah, this was an amazing comic. Great artwork, very faithful to the show. I highly recommend this. If you're a Street Sharks fan, these comics are definitely worth tracking down. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.